What is going on YouTube? Another video coming at you from the Washington Command Post. My name is Commander Plank, coming at you with a draft analysis video, and I'm on the wrong picture. There we go. So, we had a nice little draft this weekend, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and Washington got themselves a pretty solid haul. We got in the first round, I'll just go through it real quick, and I'm going to go through some analysis and kind of some reactions from other people and my reactions to their reactions, and just a bunch of good stuff that fill a good hour or so of conversation. So if you haven't already, please follow me on Twitter. It is Commander J Plank, and yeah, we're gonna go get into the draft. So yeah, no one's on so far, but I'll keep talking just the same. All right, so first round we got wide receiver Jahan Dodson out of Penn State. Second round, defensive tackle Darren Mathis. Running back, Brian Robinson. Sorry, I'm getting my email for a second. Okay, I must be missing a picture. Safety, Spencer, Butler. Quarterback, Samuel Howell. Tight end, Cole Turner. Seventh round, we end up getting offensive lineman, Chris Paul. Not to be confused with the other Chris Paul. And then Christian Holmes, no relation to Sherlock Holmes. So, that was our haul. We actually started the draft with only a couple picks. We ended up accumulating a couple more throughout the draft. We did get rid of our 6th-round pick to accumulate, and one of our 4th-round picks to accumulate 2 fifths, which got some good stuff out of that. So, this is just my kind of reaction to every pick. First off, let me just go ahead and tell everyone what my prediction was for Washington to get. I did do a video, it was a live stream, where I explained my prediction, but now I'm going to go into a little bit of detail before this, because I think I actually kind of hit the nail on the head of what Ron was focusing on. So, I thought in this draft, Washington would trade back in the first round and draft a receiver. I thought, and we get a receiver. I honestly thought we'd trade back with Pittsburgh, get the 20th pick, and then pick up a third, and a second, and a fourth from Pittsburgh. Then I also thought we would get in the second round with our 15th pick, and the 15th pick in the second round, we would get Darren Mathis out of Alabama. And then I thought, because we got a pick from the Steelers, we'd get Chad Muma. In the 4th round, I thought we'd get an offensive guard and a tight end. In the 6th round, it has getting a running back. In the 7th round, it has getting a safety. And in the 7th round, the last pick in the 7th round I had us end up getting another defensive tackle. So my thought process is 2 defensive tackles. You let go 2, you need to get 2 to replace them. Now, we might do that in free agency. We didn't quite do that. I knew we'd get a receiver to give a better or decent weapon, whatever you want to call it, to Carson Wentz. I thought we might get a running back late, but I didn't think we'd get one as early as we did. But we did, and it wasn't a bad running back. So thought we'd get a running back. I did think we might get a safety because Landon Collins is gone. And apparently this one was it was kind of a steal. One of the better coverage safeties in the draft based on when we got him too. I didn't think we'd get a quarterback, but I did have a couple in mind. Samuel Howell, I didn't think we'd get. Not that I didn't want Samuel Howell. I thought he would be gone by the 4th or 5th round, so I didn't even give us a chance to get him. I think I had Carson Strong as someone we can get in the 4th or 5th round. The fact that Samuel Howell fell that far is fantastic because. I'll get into that a little bit more later. Tight end, I had us getting a tight end. It's not the same tight end, but we did get a tight end. I had us getting 1 offensive lineman. I did not have us getting a corner. Instead, I had us getting a linebacker. So maybe just one wasn't good enough available. But all in all, I pretty much was in line with what Ron thought the team needed. I've done a couple of these in the last couple of years. Ron is hard to peg. He's a different kind of guy. He's a different kind of guy. He thinks differently, so it's not the same as everyone. He doesn't think the same as everyone else. So it's hard to pinpoint where his mindset is on a lot of things. So with this draft, so the first pick, everyone lost their mind. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Everyone lost their damn mind on the first pick. everyone lost their mind. It was I wouldn't say it's funny, but it was a thing. If you're watching, say hi in the chat just to make sure I know you're there. So you got to look at it from a certain standpoint, and if you didn't like this pick, you came at it from three angles. One angle was you wanted to get Kyle Hamilton. Okay, you just wanted to draft Kyle Hamilton. You wanted to spend a sixth straight year on a defensive player and get Kyle Hamilton. Another point of view on that was to get a receiver like Olave or Jameson Williams. And in the third, you didn't like it because you liked the trade back. You just didn't like who we got. And I'm kind of in that court a little bit. Not that I don't like who we got, but I heard they told us they could have traded back again, and we could have gotten more picks and still probably got this guy, and could have gotten some more assets, some more players, whatever case may be. But it is what it is. That's a nice way I'll put it. Yeah. So the first scenario out of that where people were probably mad. Kyle Hamilton. Listen, Kyle Hamilton is a fantastic football player. Okay. And people, thought we could get him right there. Here's the thing. We weren't going to pick 6 years in a row defensive player. You have to have a little bit of balance when it comes to what you're allocating towards what. Okay? We have 5 first-rounders on our defense. We have over $20 million invested in 2 of our corners. A lot of money invested and a lot of time and a lot of assets invested into our defense. And we had to give more of that attention to the offense. Okay, so that was why we didn't go Kyle Hamilton. Even Ron, he's a defensive guy. Even Ron understands that you can't have that much of an imbalance to be successful in the NFL. You're going to have one side of the ball is going to be great, the other side of the ball is going to not be great, and that's what's been happening the last few years. And so that's why we didn't go Kyle Hamilton. Okay, at least that's why I think Ron didn't go Kyle Hamilton. The second reason, the second one was, people wanted Jameson Williams or they wanted Chris Olave. Jameson Williams, I'll explain him first. Jameson Williams was not going to be available till probably after Halloween. So Ron's kind of on a hot seat. If he doesn't start winning, he may lose his job. Okay, so that's probably why he's not drafting. He didn't want to draft Jameson Williams. Jameson Williams, if he's healthy, I ain't arguing with anyone. But the fact that he wasn't healthy, he's still recovering from an ACL tear. We couldn't go that route. And Chris Olave, here's what you got to basically weigh out. Is Chris Olave that much? But first off, is he that much better than Jahan Dodson? So just little stats. Okay, Chris Olave in college. Chris Olave in college in 2021 had 936 receiving yards, 13 touchdowns, 101 targets. He dropped 5% of his passes. Jahan Dodson in the same year had 1,182 yards, 13 touchdowns. So he had, 200 more receiving yards. He had the same amount of touchdowns. He had more targets, and he had less drops. Dotson is also on the lesser of two teams. He had the lesser quarterback. Other teams were literally sending their best corner at Jahan Dodson a lot of the time. Chris Olave, teams had to play him, I would say, straight up. They couldn't just, key on him and, double team him or whatever. He was consistently playing the second best cornerback on the other team because Garrett Wilson was there. And the running game's solid. And the whole team's good with Ohio State. Penn State wasn't a very good team last year. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. They were not. So Jahan Dodson was the guy, and he still had better stats. He still was good. And was he the receiver that I wanted? I'm team trade back. I'm team you should have traded back one more time and get some more assets. But the way I look at it, and this is why I have this graphic up right here, is this graphic is up because is Chris Olave valued more than the picks we got, the players we got, along with Jahan Dodson from that trade? And I say no. Okay, I'm going to get into the value of the other players here soon, but I say no. I don't think he's more valued. I don't think his ability is that much greater than Jahan Dodson. If you're comparing what's a mediocre receiver? If you're comparing like a Wes Welker to a Megatron, it's not like that at all. It's like Chris Olave might be like a 95 and Jahan Dodson's like a 93. Okay, it's not much of a difference. It's really not much of a difference. And that's the way I view it. I think that's the way Ron viewed it. I think he didn't see much of a difference. Now, I will say, if you could trade back like 5 more picks and still get Jahan Dodson and accumulate another second rounder or a third rounder, I think would have been valuable. So that's the one thing that kind of irritates me. I don't think we pursued that the way we should have. But it is what it is, and that's kind of how I see it, and that's how I'm going to approach it, and that's how I'm just going to move forward from it. And I think Washington got the right player. I know a lot of people are scared from the name Dotson. It's not the same thing. Not the same player. Okay? So that was the school of thought. People were mad about, Kyle Hamilton, receiver, or that we didn't get a certain guy. A lot of people thought we should have taken George Pickens. George Pickens didn't go in the second round. So apparently that would have been a reach as well. And everyone thought this was a reach. It wasn't. He's a solid player. And Ron's pretty much draft strategy was to go with more consistently solid players rather than it's a course correction. Last year he went for some I wouldn't say he reached, but he went for some more high risk guys, and it didn't pay off. This year he's going with the more safe route. So I did predict this going and trading back and get a receiver. I didn't get the right one. I thought we'd get Chris Olave too, but Chris Olave was gone as like he literally the pick 11 was Chris Olave. We traded to the Saints and they picked him. So, looking at our draft picks, Jahan Dodson, very solid player. He's not very big. His comp, I don't like the comp that people say where they say he's comparable to they keep saying he's comparable to Deshaun Jackson. I don't like that comparison. Personally, I didn't like Deshaun Jackson that much. I mean, he's not a well-rounded receiver. That's my issue with Deshaun Jackson. He doesn't go over the middle very much. He literally is like a deep or nothing kind of guy. He doesn't want to get hit. He's very flimsy in that regard. That's a nice way to put it. I like the comparison they have on here for him instead. They have a comp as Emmanuel Sanders. I like that a lot better. Emmanuel Sanders has been not only is he a deep threat, but he's also a decently well-rounded receiver. And I wouldn't be upset with having Emmanuel Sanders-like receiver added to my team. That's just the way I feel. So I like the pick. I think it's a good addition. If Curtis Samuel's healthy, great. You have four fast receivers at least with Yami Brown, Dotson, Sanders, Samuel, and McLaurin. Okay, if Sanders is or Curtis Samuels is injured all that this year, you still have 3 fast weapons, and I think you still put in Yami Brown where he needs to be more effective, which is as a 3, not a 2, and he had to play a 2 a lot last year. So I think Washington's got that. I think it's a very good receiver. I think we definitely hit a home run here. So going back to it, and hold on one second. Let me. Nope. Okay. I'm trying to adjust something here. Okay, cool. So no, that's not what I wanted. Not at all. There we go. All right, now we're back. Okay. That's not what I want. Okay. So next pick was for Darren Mathis. For Darren Mathis, I actually had him as a selection in my draft at 15. The reason why Washington drafted him, and this is my opinion, is they let go of 2 defensive tackles and they had to fill that void. Not to mention they don't have Daron Payne extended next year, so they have to potentially prepare for Daron Payne to no longer be a Washington Commander. So they drafted someone, and everyone says it's a reach. I don't think it was a reach. I think that there were some projections that he could go the 4th just based on where positional value was, but a lot of those things have changed. There were a lot of quarterbacks in this draft that projected in the 1st round, didn't go till later, and no one's calling them busts or calling them none of that stuff. Like all those things change based on. I mean, those things are fluid. It's just there are certain priorities that are needed. And that's the nicest way. It's the best way I can put it, really. Round 3, Washington went and got a running back. Let me go back to Darren Mathis real quick. So Darren Mathis, he's another defensive lineman from Alabama. Washington loves those. He's going to be able to take up space. He might eventually take over the role of Daron Payne. I still think we need another defensive tackle. We gave up 2. We got rid of 2. and we've only used one to replace him, and we're going to lose a third at the end of this next season. So we might need to sign either. There's probably a veteran out there that we're going to sign on the cheap, and they're just waiting for a contract, and we're going to give it to them, or we're waiting to potentially trade away Tron Payne. Sorry, I had something in my teeth. Okay. And I don't like the pick. I think this is what Washington needed. I know a lot of people complaining like, "Oh my God, another defensive tackle," and a lot of people are mad because they cut Settle and they cut Matt Ioannidis. Well, you got to factor in that Settle might not have wanted to come back here anyway. He might have been in a situation where he didn't want to be a bench player, whatever case may be. You can call it whatever you want, okay? But we can't force a player to stay, okay? As much as that would be, that'd be horrible. Actually, you can't force someone to work for you. That's I don't get into that. But we can't force him to stay, and for all we know, he didn't want to come back. Okay, that's the first thing. Second, Ioannidis, it didn't seem like he was like meshing with the coaching and the type of coaching that Washington was presenting him. Okay, so that's the problem they're having with Matt Ioannidis. So both of them had to go, and then you got to get backups. You're one Jonathan Allen or one Daron Payne injury away from playing some really, really, really like. I won't say scrubs, but not good players at the defensive tackle position. Okay? Third round. Now, I thought third round Washington would address their... third round we didn't have a third round pick initially, but I thought in the second round we'd get a trade back. I thought we'd go for a linebacker. I'm assuming Ron has a plan for this. But in third round we went with Brian Robinson Jr. Brian Robinson Jr. is a running back out of Alabama. He's actually a pretty solid running back. This was a response to two things that happened this year. One, you have our main running back, Antonio Gibson, fumbling a lot. He's also not healthy a lot, but fumbling a lot. And you also, we didn't keep Peyton Barber. And we suffered on third downs and fourth down and shorts without a third down, pound it, bruiser back, whatever you want to call it. Again, this was a safe pick. It wasn't someone who's going to be a boom or bust. It was just someone that is going to be a solid, good player for Washington for years to come. They're not going to, not going to get bad. They're not going to get a lot, way better than what they are. I mean, it's possible, but that's what they're projected, and that's what Washington went with. Part of the trade back as well. We did some other trade backs as well, but apparently this pick, I've never actually heard of this. I had to look a little bit up on him. Spencer Butler is apparently. He's kind of like a Bobby McCain mixed with. He's actually a pretty good tackler. And he's got good speed and coverage, so he does everything. That's what I've been heard. He does everything, and they graded this as an A+. It was a very good pick in the fourth round, A+ pick. So I'm excited to see that. Ron has a very good knack for getting safeties and corners late in drafts and getting the most out of them. I mean, I'm excited to see what he ends up being. He looks like he's going to be a solid player. Tight end Cole Turner. I'm sorry, I skipped over Samuel Howell. Now, Samuel Howell is an interesting one because, like I said, I had Samuel Howell. Samuel Howell was projected to be like maybe a day 2 guy. I don't want to say a second rounder, but definitely day 2. Earlier, like a couple months ago, he was projected in late first round. And just because the entire quarterback position kind of fell this draft, it's probably the worst it's ever fallen in any draft in the history of the NFL, honestly. So Samuel Howell fell to the 5th round. I saw a post, by the way. It's really funny. There's a lot of us who are Red Wolves fans. That was me. I was a Red Wolves fan. We get a guy named Samuel Howell, and we're not called the Red Wolves. It's very, very funny to me. But regardless of that, I think that's the perfect time to get a quarterback. Perfect position to get a quarterback, and it's the right quarterback I think Washington needs. He's definitely going to be a good backup. He's got some things better than Taylor Heinicke. I think he's a more durable version of Heinicke. He's got a better arm than Heinicke. He's more of a gamer than Heinicke. We will see. He's kind of small, but we'll see. He had to go through a lot of changes. Ron in the press conference said Samuel Howell went from having a lot of talent to having no talent, and the offense he was still productive with no matter who we had around him. So I think that speaks volumes, and I understand Ron's thinking there. If you can go from having 3 or 4 of your main weapons and your entire offensive line 1 year, and it's all gone, you have a fresh set of guys pretty much everywhere, and you're still able to put up pretty comparable production to the year before, there's something there. And I think it's a good spot to grab him where it's not gonna mess with the psyche of Carson Wentz. And if it does, he doesn't need to be our quarterback. Okay, he can handle Washington drafting the 5th round player. Okay, I think you can handle that. Okay, but fantastic pickup. I really like this pickup for Washington. Yeah, he'll be a 3rd string this year. I don't think Ron will risk putting him in or putting him as the 2nd string and then risk having to put him in his rookie year and potentially ruin his rookie year, so to speak. I think he's going to let Carson Wentz is going to have unequivocally give Carson Wentz the starting job, and I think he's going to do that. But also he did that with Dwayne Haskins, and he regretted that because he said he wished he would have made it more of a competition. So, I mean, we'll see it, but I think he's going to do the right move and actually go forward with just Carson Wentz as the guy and not have any kind of like discussion on it. If you're chatting, by the way, I can't see any of the chats. I'm using a different program, so they're not popping up if you are chatting. So keep that in mind. Or if someone could just chat real quick, that'd be amazing. Just so I can see that. Okay, it's actually, mine's showing up. Just to make sure it works if you're listening right now. So then we got tight end Cole Turner. According to the all the things I saw on him, he's got really good, he's big. He's 6'6", very good reach, very good length. Can catch the ball very well. He's an athlete. He's not very good at blocking. He kind of gets bullied a little bit by linebackers. He's going to have to toughen up a little bit, but he's not. If Logan Thomas is able to play day one, not the end of the world. It's not the worst thing ever that, Cole Turner, because eventually I don't think Samus Reyes, it was a good story last year, but I don't think he's going to pan out to be anything effective or significant on this team. I'd like him to be. He looks like a hell of an athlete, and he's built like a brick, you know what. But I just don't see him being a valuable asset, usable asset to this team long term at all. I think that's why they drafted tight end Cole Turner. I think they were going to draft tight end anyway, but it happened to end up being Cole Turner. I was kind of hoping for the guy from Virginia, but Zimba Sexy One, thank you. Thank you for messaging the chat. I'm just making sure it worked because no one had been chatting so far. Ask questions if you have any questions, by the way. If you're listening, throw it in the chat. I'll answer them. I'm kind of just reviewing the draft right now. Chris Paul, not to be confused with the one playing in the NBA playoffs right now. By the way, I hope he gets the title this year. Go Phoenix. I'm a Wizard fan, but I want Chris Paul to get a title. I think he deserves one. He plays so hard, and he's got like a good killer instinct that I really enjoy. Loud noise. There we go. Chris Paul, offensive lineman. It doesn't say tackle or guard or whatever. I think this is going to be a utility offensive lineman. We need that. We need some depth. I don't even know if this guy will make the team. It's a 7th round pick, but we'll take it nonetheless. And then cornerback, Christian Holmes. Don't know too much about the guy, but we got a good grade on one of the websites I looked at. Gave it a pretty decent grade for where we got him. So what do I think of this draft? Well, I think we hit a lot of everything but one position that I thought we would get, but Ron might already have a plan for that. So I'm going to sit back and see. But we hit every position that I thought Washington would hit. We even got one that I didn't anticipate us having a good opportunity to get, which was quarterback. We basically got a lot of the things that I think Washington really, really needed to be successful this year. I would say there's potentially five guys here that can play, 6 guys here that can play immediately and have an impact this year. Jahan Dodson, he's going to be a slot receiver. He's going to be involved in the running game in some ways. He's going to be jet sweeps. He will be effective this year. Defensive tackle Darren Mathis. Matt Ioannidis played 6% of the snaps last year, and Tim Settle played about 50%. He's going to get rotations. You can't have John Payne and Jonathan Allen playing every snap. It's going to weigh on them, get them exhausted, and late games are going to not be effective. So he's going to play a lot. Brian Robinson. Gibson gets hurt every year somehow, some way. So I wouldn't be surprised if he gets hurt and we're going to Brian Robinson very early in the season. Sponsored by Mountain Dew, Code Red. And safety Percy Butler. I think right away, basically, he's a replacement for the Shazier Everett for sure on special teams. Okay, he's really fast. He's really good at kick and cover. But I mean, Ron has a way of finding these safeties in later rounds, and a lot of the things that they said about him were very positive things. So maybe we got a gem in this, and maybe Ron has a plan for him. Okay, we got that Buffalo nickel. That's what everyone wanted. So we'll see. I'm excited about him being a part of this team, and it was a lot of hype about that pick. It really was. And then Samuel Howell, excited about that. Did some mock drafts earlier this year where I saw Washington getting him late first round, and more drafts I did, he kept getting a little further and a little further and a little further. And wow, did he fall the 5th round. But I'm not upset about that because we got a quarterback. We got a quarterback that a lot of Washington fans potentially wanted. I think a lot of fans are like Malik Willis, and everyone was saying Malik Willis. Like, why is he not getting taken? It's just quarterback was devalued this year. It's all it was. A lot of teams weren't like really needing a quarterback. Like, think about the NFL. What teams really were needing a quarterback right now? Seahawks, maybe. Yeah, probably Seahawks. Okay, let's go through every division. Look at our division. Giants, they're still going with Daniel Jones, so maybe they could get one, but they weren't looking to get one right away. Eagles, no. Us, no. Dallas, no. Look at the NFC South. You got Panthers. Panthers, maybe. I'll give you Panthers. Okay, but they're the ones that drafted, who they draft? I don't remember who they drafted. Did they draft a quarterback? Shoot. Well, anyway, they didn't have a quarterback, so they might have been eligible to draft a quarterback. Okay, Saints quarterback as well. So Saints, you also have Atlanta. So other than Tampa, like every team out there was looking for a quarterback in that division. So there's potentially 3 teams, but I think Atlanta got Matt Corral. I don't remember who the Panthers got, if they got anyone. I don't remember who the Saints got if they got anyone. They got some good picks, but I don't know who they got. If you know who went where, comment down below, please. I really was just, I worked all day. I literally worked from 8:30 this morning until quarter after 7. So I've been focusing on this all day, on work all day, and not doing this. So forgive me if I'm not up and up on everyone else's drafts. I'm more focused on ours. But if you look throughout the league, that's what I'm getting at. NFC West, you have the Seahawks. NFC West, you have the Seahawks. Arizona's not going to draft anyone. Arizona's not going to draft anyone. The Seahawks aren't going to draft anyone. Seahawks might draft someone. 49ers aren't going to draft anyone. So, yeah, there's Titans drafted Malik Willis. That's what it was. Titans drafted Malik Willis. So that was actually surprising because no one was really looking at Titans as like, oh, they're going to get a quarterback. Not really. That wasn't something that a lot of us were considering. But what I'm getting at is a lot of teams weren't looking quarterback. They weren't looking for quarterback, which is why a lot of them fell, and we got lucky. Sam Howell fell to Washington and couldn't be happier. Like I said, I thought we'd get Carson Strong. I thought Carson Strong would be one of the few quarterbacks left at this point, so I thought Washington might take a stab at getting Carson Strong there. But I'll be very happy with Samuel Howell. The only thing about Samuel Howell that I don't like is that he's short, but he has a way better arm than Heineke does, and he can really, really drive the ball down the field. I think there's a lot of good things about Samuel Howell that we can take advantage of, and having the fact that we have Carson Wentz for at least a year and giving this kid time to develop is fantastic. So I'm very happy with that. All right. Cole Turner, you know what? We need a tight end. And this guy will get it probably about a year to develop. Maybe he'll force Sammis Reyes to either practice squad or something, or maybe get cut. And then obviously Chris Paul, line depth, and cornerback Christian Holmes, not bad. So what do I grade this? Well, I grade this as a solid A-. I like this draft. I really do. it's one thing whenever you, as fans, we speculate who we are, and there's a bunch of YouTubers out there. We have like a YouTube community of Washington fans, basically. And when we get in consensus of what Washington needs, and then the coach goes out and gets those things that we need, and he might not be the exact player in where we would get them, but he goes out and gets them the same, like, exact positional needs that we think. It's very encouraging because not only, I mean, he's getting what we want, but I think we're getting a little more validated. A lot of us fans are getting validated that we're on the same page. The ownership is on the same page with a lot of us YouTubers. Or, like, a lot of fans just casually watch football. They casually watch the team. I think a lot of fans, like, really, a lot of the YouTubers really invest a lot of their personal time. I know I do. Like, right now, I'm here. I was going to be here regardless, but my wife is in Maryland at, like, a festival with my daughter, and I'm here doing this. It's not, I didn't not go with her because of this. I had to work, but it's still, we spent a lot of time with it, so it's good to get that validation is what I'm getting at, that we're on the same page with the professional football coach about what our favorite team, what their needs are. Now, how they're going to use it, that's the next question. So I'm going to open up for questions. I'm going to talk about next is what Washington needs to do in this last part of free agency. Since they didn't really go, they might go Percy Butler, and they might actually, since they get the linebacker, there's a couple things they could do with linebacker. Linebacker, one of the big things they can do with linebacker right now is they can go with, linebacker. They can still bring back Landon Collins and have him play linebacker. They finally figured out that he's most effective in that part of the field, in that position. So that probably would be one of the better ones for him, to make sure that he is in the best spot. And he doesn't seem like he wants to go anywhere. He hasn't signed with him. Well, he hasn't technically been cut. It's just they're saving the cap space. So they might have a plan with Landon Collins. Maybe he comes back. Maybe he doesn't. I don't know. It's possible. But I also think that there's some free agents out there. There's some defensive line free agents at Washington. I'm pretty confident Washington will pursue. Whether you want to call it like a handshake agreement or whatever, that there are plenty of plenty of defensive tackles out there for Washington to pick up. That they can use to kind of fill some gaps this year and just be an asset to the team this year while we're developing a little bit more, getting a little more development out of our young defensive tackle, so on and so forth. So I think that we're going to do that. I don't think we're going to go receiver. Maybe an offensive lineman gets cut somewhere, and Washington may jump at that opportunity. But I don't see a lot of things where Washington is going. Maybe linebacker. But like I said, I think they're going to go the route. Of going maybe Landon Collins. He's more familiar with the scheme. They don't have to teach another scheme to anyone. So what do I think about this draft? Like I said, A-. It's a solid draft. I think we hit on all the things Washington really needed. Opening up for questions. I mean, I don't know how far I am in this stream, honestly. What time is it? 9:05? Okay, so we've been 35 minutes in, roughly. Throw some questions out there in the live chat, and I'll answer them about this draft. I personally I personally like this draft. It was kind of, I don't want to say fun, but it was kind of interesting watching the reactions to a bunch of the things players were saying, or the fans were saying. And I always laugh because sometimes fans are just way too emotional and they don't wait for a second. Like I did a live stream a couple days ago, and I even noticed this myself. I reacted to X, Y, and Z happening with Washington, like the Carson Wentz trade. I had an overreaction early, and then after a while, I'm like, okay, maybe it's not that bad. Maybe it is a good thing that Washington has. Maybe it is a good thing that Washington did get him, and it's okay that we gave up 2/3. Because I was listening to Ron's press conference today, he's like, Yeah, look at it this way. Our third round pick this year, we got Carson Wentz. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. So in the third round, you got a potential franchise quarterback, okay, or at least a good 1-year rental in the third round. It's a lot of money, but you gotta look at it that way. Look at the upside. I mean, I'll try to be positive about it. But that's what Washington has gotten out of the situation. And like I said, we traded back and got Jahan Dodson. Did anyone out there predict Washington to get him? I doubt anyone predicted it. However, when you look back at it, we got Jahan Dodson. We picked up Brian Robinson Jr. We picked up Samuel Howell and Cole Turner. So was Chris Olave, does he outweigh the rest of those assets that we picked up? I say no. I think it was perfectly the right pick that Washington needed. So yeah. Oh, I actually got a pretty decent amount of people on. So, if you're just joining the live stream, yeah, chime on in. Give me some questions in the chat about the draft, what I thought, what I think we should have done where, what I think we need left. Yeah, this chat's going to about 9:30, maybe later. Depends on how much involvement there is. Woo. Waiting for some questions here. I might go full screen and not do this anymore because we don't need that anymore. L'Chaim. I'm not just drinking soda. There's water in this, so. So what can we do with every draft pick? Let me go over that real quick. Wide receiver Jahan Dodson, I think he's going to be... He can be used in a return game. I don't think we're going to use him that way. I don't think you give him the opportunity to get injured. A lot of people get injured on special teams. So I don't think they'll use him there. It is kind of nice if they do use him in that for just a little bit, because it kind of makes sense of why they let DeAndre Carter leave. I mean, they didn't really let him leave. He wanted more money than they were willing to give him. So I guess it is letting him leave. So yeah, that's definitely a part of it. But I think they'll use him in the slot role. He can blow the top off a defense. Terry McLaurin's got that much more effective. De'Ami Brown, Curtis Samuel got that much more effective. You cannot cover him, like, if he's a slot and you have two good receivers, you can't cover him with a he's gonna weaken the defense. You cannot cover him with a linebacker. He will burn a linebacker all day. You're going to have to put more defensive backs on the field. It's going to loosen up the defense because it's not going to have as many linebackers. And it's going to make a lot of things available for Scott Turner. Scott Turner has no excuse right now. I'm going to be very clear right now. He has zero excuses. He's got a lot of good toys to play with. He's got a great backup if Carson Wentz isn't working. He can obviously still go to Heineke, but Heineke would probably be more effective too, because Heineke's having a lot more weapons, and Curtis Samuel never played last year. You gotta understand that, like, Heineke had one weapon, that was Terry, and there was a huge drop off between Terry and the next closest receiver. So I think if we have all those weapons available and it ends up being Taylor Heineke, I think we're still going to be a decent enough team. I mean, Heineke has limitations, but I think we can get through those limitations with this, with the weapons that we've added, and if we can stay healthy. Yeah, Landon Collins is a designated post June 1st cut. Yeah, I know he's a post June 1st cut, but they can always cut him and bring him back. That's what I'm referring to. Maybe he's testing the market, see if there's actually if there's a market for him. That's what I'm referring to. I get what you're saying. I know that's a done deal, but I think they're giving him permission to test the market. And I don't know if he's gonna. The rumor has it there's no one out there who's gonna sign him. That's the rumor. So if no one out there signs him, and Washington is willing to bring him back, it's just not going to be the massive contract he had before. I wouldn't be opposed to that. Next question. What's up, fellow Washington brother? What kind of veteran free agents you think Washington should target after seeing the draft? So, you know what's funny is I had this up last night or 2 nights ago. Free. And I thought it had it up on my tablet, but it didn't. So bear with me a moment. I'm going to go ahead and bring up Google. Go ahead and bring up Google. If I just get it brought up. I hate Apple products. I really do. Alright, so let me bring up Google. And NFL, not draft tracker, free agent tracker. I had this last night. So there's a couple. Okay. I honestly thought I had this up. I apologize, folks. I'm not trying to I'm just right now. I'm stalling, but I know exactly where I need to go with it. There we go. Got it. And apparently Washington just signed a undrafted wide receiver. I heard that somewhere on Twitter. All right, so statuses, available position. So I'm going to start with defensive tackle, defensive line. Players that are available. I'll make sure it's defensive tackle, not just defensive line. Defensive tackle, there we go. So the defensive tackles that are available. So I'm just going to read some of the names off here. You're going to know some of these. So you got Eddie Goldman. He played for Chicago last year. Brandon Williams, Ndamukong Suh. The one I think that Washington may be interested in is there's a couple actually. You got Malik Jackson. You got Sheldon Richardson. I don't think they're gonna be great. You got Gerald McCoy. You also got Star Latulili, whatever his name is. So I think that those are a couple of the veterans that Washington might have already had like a handshake agreement with. That hey, after the draft, and we just make sure we get the things we need, we're gonna bring you in. So that's where I think Washington's going to grab some depth. Like I said, they lost 2 defensive linemen last year, or in this offseason. And they're going to lose another one. So maybe they bring in another defensive lineman to kind of fill that void. That way they don't have to go an undrafted route and play an undrafted player a lot. That's possible. But I think there's definitely some talent out there where you can fill this void that they have at the defensive tackle spot. If they drafted like 2 defensive tackles, I'd say nah, they're not going to spend any money on that. But they still have the ability to go out and get one of these guys. So, all right. So yeah, those are the best available right now at the defensive tackle spot. And I don't know if he's available still. I'm gonna check this one really quick. I'm checking something really quick, guys. I apologize here. More NFL teams draft contract. I don't know. Go back. Got into a wrong area on this. So, safety. I'm trying to check and see if there's a safety available. Okay, so yeah, Tyrann Mathieu is still available out there. Maybe there's a handshake agreement with Tyrann Mathieu. That wouldn't be horrible. Still being able to grab Tyrann Mathieu after having such what I think is a pretty solid draft. You have Deshaun Gibson. You have Landon Collins, obviously. I just think Landon Collins might be out there, and the reason why I think that's a possibility is because he just knows our system. You don't have to bring him in and teach him all these things. He's someone that just knows it, and he can go right in, and he can also teach it pretty well too. If you want to look at that angle when it comes to the younger guys, like he can be a mentor for the things. But I do think our defense would look a little bit better with Tyrann Mathieu and Cameron Curl back there than it would look with either Forrester or the rookie Butler we just got and Cameron Curl, or I even think Landon Collins. Maybe he plays linebacker. I don't know. But there's a couple of veterans I think Washington might consider bringing in. I don't think the only other thing I could think Washington might get is a linebacker. I don't think there's a good enough linebacker out there where they're going to go out of their way. Joe Schobert from Pitt went to Pitt or played for Pitt last time. He's available, maybe. Kyle Van Noy, maybe. KJ Wright, maybe. Those are some pretty decent options, actually. But I don't know. I don't know what Ron's plan is. He might bring back Landon Collins and have him play middle linebacker, and then one of our linebacker roles. Maybe he doesn't care to replace linebacker because he knows we play Buffalo nickel more anyway. We play the nickel more than we don't play a base 4-3 like you would traditionally play in football like back in the day. We play more multiple cornerbacks, multiple players in the secondary. So we don't really need 3 linebackers to start, and I think that's the best way I can put it. Is I don't know what Ron's plan is. And I guess we'll find out. We're going to have to wait till June 1st to see if we cut him, and then like on June 2nd, we're going to bring him back, or we're going to get someone else. We might get him. We might get someone else long before that, and then we'll probably know the answer. So good question. Next question. This is what I was looking for. Cool. Lennon Collins. Okay, so there's only 2 questions out right now. Keep the questions coming, man. I'm scheduled myself to do this till 9:30, but I'll do this as long as possible, as long as there's questions rolling in. Now's the time I'll mention that, first off, I want to give a shout out to this nice hat. This is the Washington Commanders draft hat they had available in their store. They're not sponsoring this by any stretch. I just want to give a shout out because I really, really enjoyed this hat. It's really nice. The last one I had, I'm not going to lie, it's right here actually. I had to put a Band-Aid in there because the way this was threaded, that cuts my forehead. I'm not making that up. If you can't see that right in there, there's a little spot in there that cuts my forehead. Now I've tried doing everything I can. I've sanded it down. I've done what I've took a sander to it, whatever you want to call it. I've done everything I can. The only thing I can stop myself from not cutting my forehed is to put a Band-Aid in there. So I like this hat, but that deters me from wanting to wear it that often. So I have to put a little Band-Aid with a little pad underneath to prevent it from scratching my forehead. This one, nothing. Right inside, it's just so comfortable. It came out of the box. I didn't have to adjust it one time. It's amazing. So I recommend getting this hat. It was a very nice pickup. And also, while I'm at it, if you weren't here at the beginning, please give my Twitter a follow. It's Commander J Plank, and you'll get notifications. I post videos like this all the time, so on and so forth. We have 19 people on. I think that's the most I've ever had on, so I'm very happy about that. If you're on, say hi, ask a question about the draft. What were your opinions? There was 19 on earlier when I went over kind of my breakdown of the draft, so I would like to see some questions thrown out there about what we did, what did I think, or what is your thoughts on what's everyone's thoughts on the first round pick? Let's throw that out there first. By the way, I hope everyone likes the stream. This is the first time that I've actually used my program. It's OBS. I've never actually used it to put together the entire stream. Usually I'll just use one program for the stream and do it that way. But it's actually working very well for me. I think it's working. The only thing I can't do with this, and maybe I got to figure out, maybe someone can message me about it. I'll answer that question in 1 second, Amir. Gee, I lost my thought. I'll just answer this question then. On our collab, I'll read it out. On our collab, we talked about you wanted Carson Strong. I mentioned Sam Howell. What are your thoughts on Sam Howell, and what do you think of him sitting this year to compete for starter in 23? I never had anything against Samuel Howell. My only concern about Samuel Howell is initially he was graded to be a late first, maybe early second. And then he kept kind of pushing back to definitely a day 2 kind of guy. That's consistently what happened. That's consistently what kind of happened is he gradually went back, and we weren't anticipating him being available on day 4, maybe like early 4th, but he went all the way to the 5th round, and so you got to basically the entire draft shifted. So where quarterbacks were considered maybe like Malik Willis, for example, was like a top 10. Kenny Pickett was like a top 10, and then you had like Corral and Ritter and Howell were like late first, early second, and then you had like the next wave where Carson Strong would be in that next wave. Everything got shifted drastically. Okay, it was a nice bell curve shift, and so I'm not upset in any way, shape, or form getting Samuel Howell. Samuel Howell, I think, is the overall better quarterback than Carson Strong. Carson Strong has a very good arm. Carson Strong very seriously lacks mobility. I think he's going to get better because he's not going to be playing with a big brace on. He played on one leg last year. And that kind of toughness you want from your quarterback. That's going to demand everyone around him to, if your quarterback is playing on one leg, and you have no excuse. You have no excuse for why you can't give your all. Okay? And I think that says something about Carson Strong, where he could have sat out all last year and probably still entered this draft and still drafted probably about where he was, honestly. But he chose to play. He chose to play on one leg, risking worse injury than he did. And I think he played very well, and I think that commands a lot of things. Now, Samuel Howell. I think Samuel Howell is a lot of things that Carson Strong is, plus some. I think he has a good arm like Carson Strong. I think he is a ball. I think this is where Samuel Howell's different. Samuel Howell he's a baller. He's a gamer. Okay, he reminds me of Taylor Heinicke. He's a better version of Baker Mayfield. That's the way I honestly view him. And where Baker Mayfield falls off is Baker Mayfield. He's got a pretty good arm, but I don't see Baker Mayfield. I see the flaws of Baker Mayfield's personality. I don't see those flaws in Samuel Howell. Samuel Howell is tough. He'll take hits. He'll run the ball and stick his nose, like he'll knock someone's in the dirt. He's not afraid to hit. He's not afraid to play. So yeah, I like Samuel Howell. I have no issue with him. The only reason I didn't say we get Samuel Howell or around like the 4th or 5th round was because I didn't think he'd be there. That's why. And I thought rounds 1 through 3, or even 1 through 4, I thought we would be in more of a spot where we needed to pick must-haves and starters, not quarterback depth. Question coming in. I'm even keel on the draft. Nobody truly knows. You're not wrong, Boski. I like that name, Boski. Boski, you're not wrong. We won't know. Like 3 years from now, we'll know how great this was. So that's just the way it is. 3 years from now, we'll know if Ron's a genius or an idiot, and we'll know if our predictions are, if we all grade this high or low. We'll know if we're good or smart or dumb in a couple years. Don't know specifics, but how did we benefit from trading away our 4th? We traded away our 4th because we traded away our 4th and our 6th. We had the 6th round pick, but we traded away our 4th and our 6th. In exchange for that, we got 2 5th rounders, and I think the benefit of that is we got a quarterback, Samuel Howell. We got a quarterback, and then we also got a tight end, Cole Turner. Now I don't know, Cole Turner's not going to come out and start right away, but he is definitely going to probably get Sammis Reyes off this team. As much as I think Sammis Reyes is a good story, I don't know if he's going to be. I mean, maybe, but he looks like a freak athlete. I just don't know if it's translating to football very well. I don't know if he's translating to football. It's not like anything like that. But I just don't know if he's like picking up football very well. That's where I think it benefits. And we needed a tight end because even though they say he's on pace to be ready for week 1, we really don't know if Landon Collins is going to be ready for week 1. So I think that's a factor as to why we traded our 4th round pick to, 1, get a backup quarterback. And 2, get a potential backup tight end if we don't have Logan Thomas. And if we do have Logan Thomas, maybe Sammis Reyes, it doesn't have a roster spot anymore. We actually have a third tight end we can consistently play. So that's where I think the benefit was of trading our fourth round pick for 2/5. Howell makes Ron and company extremely comfortable if Carson doesn't work out. 100%. I 100% agree with that statement. He does make him extremely comfortable. I don't think they're going to go to him this year, though. That's the thing. I just said this a while ago. I think Heineke, if you take the talent we have, plus this talent we just drafted, and something happens to Carson Wentz in preseason and whatever, and Taylor Heineke has to play, we lost 4 games last year by less than a touchdown or less with Taylor Heineke at quarterback. Okay, and I like Taylor Heineke a lot. He's limited. But even with him at quarterback, there's 4 games where we could have won and had potential close to double-digit wins. We won 7 games last year. And 4 of those losses we lost by like a touchdown. Okay? I'll go over them. Do it every time. But Chargers, Saints, Denver, and the second Eagles game for sure. Maybe even the first Dallas game. I think we lost that by like a touchdown as well. That was a game Taylor Heineke actually got hurt. But there's 5 games where we lost by like a touchdown that were winnable games that we lost by like a touchdown. So yeah, that's how I view it, and that's how I view. So I don't think we'll play. I don't think Samuel Howe. And I made this joke earlier. It's funny that we had I'm one of the people that wanted the Washington Red Wolves. And how mad is everyone that we had a player with the last name Howell and we didn't change the team name to the Red Wolves. I like that joke. I saw it on Twitter and I really just had to chuckle because it was a joke and then it was like a video of someone beating up a door because they were so mad about it. So I have to keep telling that joke. It's funny. I think Ron and company are just going to roll the dice with Carson. Because this is what I said, and I said this on the podcast I did 2 days ago, or three days ago on Wednesday, and I said it last week with my buddy Amir on the Command Center podcast. I recommend you go check out both of those, Command Center podcast and the On the Warpath YouTube channel podcast. Whatever happens this year, you need to get receiver anyway, not just for Carson Wentz, not just for anything, but let's say Carson Wentz sucks this year. Whoever you drop in a quarterback, whether that's Samuel Howell, maybe it's a different quarterback, but whoever you drop in at quarterback, you got to give him talent. So if Carson sucks, we're not going through this thing where we got to scramble to get talent for whoever we throw at quarterback. No, we're going to have all this talent, and we're going to drop someone else in. And in this case, now it looks like Samuel Howell. So I think Ron is in a very good spot right now where he has Carson Wentz for 3 years if he's good. And after those 3 years, he can move on to Samuel Howell and then sign Samuel Howell to a longer contract, or whatever the case may be. He's got options. He's got options. That's the thing. Like, we didn't have options before. Now we have options. We've really opened ourselves up to have options at the quarterback position that we didn't have before. Do you all think we should have drafted Burks instead of Dotson? I personally don't care either way. I'm not taking it either way. I said this in another podcast. Like there's going to be about 7 or 8 receivers drafted in the first round. There's going to be probably about 11 drafted by our 47th pick. It's pretty close to that. And a lot of these guys are interchangeable. That's what I was saying earlier. Like we traded the 11th pick for. This is essentially what we traded our 11th pick for. Jahan Dodson, okay, Brian Robinson, Samuel Howe, and Cole Turner. That's essentially what we traded. So is Chris Olave valued more than all those combined? No, he is not. Okay? He is not valued more than all 4 of them combined. And if you don't know, like the 4th rounder that we traded that again to get Samuel Howell and tight end Cole Turner. Okay? He is not valued at that. A potential franchise quarterback, he's not more valued than that. Jahan Dodson actually had better stats than him last year on a lesser team with no other weapons around him with a lesser quarterback. So he did better, and he always had to deal with the other team's best cornerback. And we got a good backup running back. We got a potential franchise quarterback, or at least a really good backup quarterback. And we got a tight end in case we have a guy in Logan Thomas that can't play week 1. So there's a lot of needs we filled, and trading him filled to those needs plus more. So these are good questions. Keep them coming, guys. These are very good questions. Keep them coming. How did you stack the NFC East after draft? That is a very good question. I haven't even looked at the other team's drafts, to be honest with you. Now I'll look at it. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'll go ahead and look. Let's do that. You know what? I'll look right on here. I do 2 picks. Let's look at Dallas. Oh, nope, don't want to do that. We'll look at it right on here. Give me 1 second. This is taking a minute to load. Alright, so round the picks. What do I want to go draft home, maybe? Well, for what they say, a lot of people said that the Eagles had a pretty good draft. I'm going to keep talking while I try to find this. Go Caps. What's up, Caps? Hi. Alright, I'm going to look at it on this. I'm just not going to leave that one up. I'll look at it right on here. I don't think Dallas had a pretty solid draft. I mean, I don't trust a lot of what they say every year anyway. We've had some years we've gotten some like really good players, and NFL Draft Tracker, I'm going to try to do it by team, and I'll look at how every team has panned out. I'm more intimately familiar with thank you, Go Caps. Like Go Caps said, make sure you're subscribed and hit the notification bell. You get videos like this all the time. And okay, so I'm on the same. Where did Dallas draft? Okay. I had a website. Oh, there it is. Okay, I actually found it. Teams. Okay. I can look by team now. Okay, I found the right website I'm looking for on my tablet. Okay, cool. So, okay, I'm gonna look at go alphabetical. Look up probably Dallas first. Open. All right, let's look at Dallas's draft. Okay, let's look at Dallas's draft here. All right, so Dallas drafted in the first round Tyler Smith, offensive tackle, Sam Williams, edge rusher from Mississippi, Jalen Tolbert, Jake Ferguson, offensive tackle. Yeah, none of these really wow me. The only one I'm much more familiar with player-wise is Damon Clark, because I was looking at Washington potentially getting an outside linebacker. Good question. I'll answer that question just 1 second. Yeah, Eagles. I'm not gonna lie. Eagles had a good draft. Who do I think had the best draft? Hold on 1 second. I think Jets by far had the best draft. Oh my gosh. They're not in our division. I get that. I'm 100% aware they're not in our division. But I was just in awe of their draft because you gotta look at the. I'm gonna talk about the Jets for a second. I'm off topic for 2 seconds. The Jets, my goodness, last year. They drafted Michael Carter, a running back. They drafted Zach Wilson, a franchise quarterback, a quarterback that I wanted. So I really liked him. I liked his potential. I think he's going to be really good this year. I think they're going to be a dangerous team. I don't care what anyone says. They're going to be a very dangerous team. But yeah, they got Zach Wilson, Elijah Moore, Michael Carter last year, and then this year they got Garrett Wilson. They got Breece Hall, and they drafted Jeremy Ruckert. So they have literally two solid receivers, 2 good running backs, and Jeremy Rucker. They just put any semblance of an offensive line together to protect Zach Wilson. I'd be very afraid of that team. So, okay, Jordan Davis, yeah, he was a very good pickup for the Eagles. It's going to be hard blocking him, man. He's going to run over Wes Schweitzer if Wes Schweitzer doesn't look out. And then Nakobe Dean. Now, they only had 4-5 picks this year, so they didn't draft a lot, but I think they accumulated a lot of draft capital, though. So they had some good things, but they didn't do a lot. So I think what they did, they definitely had some good things they did, but I don't think they did a lot. Grant Calacatera was a very solid tight end draft for them, late rounds, by the way. Sorry, I did ours. Let me look at the New York Giants. New York Giants got some players. The fact that they just had a sheer volume of picks really helped them out. But does anyone here really trust how the Giants have drafted anytime recently? I think Zach Wilson, Boski. I think Zach Wilson's better than Howell. He's taller. He's got a better arm. We'll see though. We'll see. I don't disagree with you. He did play better competition. We'll see. But I think Zach Wilson, giving him some weapons, will give him a chance. So how do we stack? I think the rest of the division had more. They were more flashy. That might be the better way to put it. But I don't think they actually had as like I showed you ours. In our draft, we have potentially from round 1 to the last pick in round 5 that we had 6 players that could play this year, consistent minutes, impact the team immediately if need be. Okay, I can't say that every other team had that. They have got some more, I guess, boom, pizzazz is the best way I'll put it. But I think Washington, I think Ron did something this year and he course corrected. Last year he went for the boom or bust, the risk, the high maneuver, the high risk maneuver, whatever you want to call it. In this, he went for the riverboat Ron. He gambled. Okay, and this year I don't think he riverboat Ron did. I think he card counted Ron. I've said this before. I think Ron has a lot of moments where he's actually very calculated. He doesn't roll the dice. This is one of the ones this year where I think he was card counting Ron, where he picked his spots. He picked guys that have high floors, maybe not the high ceilings, but high floors where they're not going to bust. They're going to be effective no matter what. They're like, it's like, you ever heard the phrase like too big to fail? These guys are just right. They can't fail unless it's complete and utter horrible coaching. But they could plug in right now and play. Jahan Dodson, you can put him in right now at the slot, and he has that 10-yard in route is like his best route in college. You can check out his route tree. Darren Mathis could play right now at defensive tackle and very least clog up space and let everyone else get single covered. Okay, and he can win a one-on-one battle. He's very good stopping the run. He's going to clog up the middle. Robinson, if Gibson goes down today, Robinson's going to be able to run the ball immediately. Percy Butler's going to immediately impact on special teams, and he might end up playing our safety if we don't sign one in free agency. Samuel Howell, I believe Samuel Howell, if absolutely necessary. He doesn't have to because I got him in the 5th round. That warrants him the ability to sit and learn for a year. But Samuel Howell could play right now if we absolutely needed him to. I believe that. Do I think we will? No. I think Ron is not going to rush this. I don't think he's even going to attempt it unless the wheels fall off and both Carson Wentz. We have the same thing that happened a couple years ago with Alex Smith and Colt McCoy both fractured their legs. I don't think that's going to happen, and then we're down to having to play Samuel Howell. I don't think it's going to happen. I'll get to that question, Boski, in 1 second. Let me go back and answer this question. Go Caps. What do you think of our picks? Go Caps. I'll answer. Near the beginning of the video, I kind of went in more depth on that. But what do I think of the picks? I think the picks are solid. I think we had a solid draft across the board. I think like I said, I think Ron card counted and he got the guys where we need to, and there's a lot of value, especially in the middle draft. For the 3 in the middle, for the 4th rounder and the 2 fifths, I think we got some really good value out of those picks. Especially the 113 and 144. Really good value out of those picks. But I think we have 6 potential impact players next year that can play and be very effective and have an effect on the game. Who's covering A.J. Brown for the Commanders? Crazy trade. Yeah, he absolutely. It's going to be tough. It's going to be very tough for Washington to cover them. But hey, we are paying 2 different corners $10,000 plus or $10 million a year plus to cover guys. Kendall Fuller. I think Kendall Fuller will probably be a pretty good matchup with A.J. Brown. And then I think if we do the right thing this year and William Jackson III, we start playing more man with him, I think he can handle Devontae Smith. So I think that's the response to that. Do I trust Jack Del Rio to adjust early in the season if things don't pan out? Do I trust that? Track record says no, honestly. And the reason why I say that is the last 2 seasons that Jack Del Rio has been our defensive coordinator, it's taken them to about game 8 to kind of figure out how our defense plays and where guys are most effective. It's not anything against Jack Del. It's just I just got to go off of what I've seen. And every year, like the first year here, our defense really couldn't couldn't figure out what their thing was until about the 8th game when they actually started being the defense that everyone thought they were going to be. Last year, there's a lot of reasons. I think there's a lot of reasons why the defense wasn't bad. I'm not going to get too far into that, but I will say this: our defensive ends were not playing with their lane discipline. And I have a video. It's on my channel where I showcased what they were doing that was causing all the issues for Washington. It was causing a lot of issues for the secondary. And a lot of people were saying the secondary was like one of the worst in the league last year. No, it was. You have 2 combinations of things. One, you signed a corner in William Jackson III, and then who's a man-to-man corner, one of the top 5 man-to-man corners, and then had him playing zone. Okay, that doesn't make sense. Okay, why would you sign him then if you're going to have him play zone? Doesn't make sense. So that's the first thing. Second, lost train of thought for a second. I keep reading and I lose my train of thought. So that was the first problem you had. Second problem you had is you're playing zone and your defense. You play zone. Here's why you play zone in the NFL. One is if you don't have the man, like the ability to cover man to man. Okay, it gives you guys more time to get to the quarterback. But you also do it. You play zone because like I said, it gives you more time to get to the quarterback. So that is what the point of playing the zone is. Man to man, you do that if you just can't get to the quarterback ever. You don't have a good pass rush, and you just need to cover longer. Okay, that's what it's for. Zone plays take longer to develop, and we with no pass rush last year, we barely had any pass rush at all. We really didn't have any pass rush. And like I said, our defensive ends were taking such wide angles. Quarterbacks are literally just step up and roll out and scramble and extend plays. And I don't care who you are. I don't care if, I'm almost 300 pounds or 280 pounds to 300 pounds. But you can't cover someone for that long. Eventually, they're going to find a way to get open. Okay? So it has to be a balance. You have to have lane disciplines, and you also have to have lane discipline whenever you're getting after the quarterback, and you also have to have your defense, your players in the best spot. Okay, you have to put your players in the best possible situation for them to be successful. And I don't think we had a combination of both of that last year. So I don't know if that's Jack Del Rio's doing. I don't know if it's Ron's doing. If it's Jack Del Rio's doing, Ron should catch it. So ultimately, the buck stops with Ron. He needs to know that stuff. So he needs to be more consciously aware of all that. The first year, you can say Ron had so much on his plate, he missed out on it. But now he doesn't have to worry about the GM stuff. He's got 2 GMs for that. 3 GMs, actually. So, hey, guys, leave a like for Commander Plank and the Washington Command Post. Yeah, listen to what Amir said. These are good questions. Keep them rolling, guys. I like it. Win projection if things go our way. Okay, so Last year we had what was said to be the toughest schedule in the league. It was said to be the toughest schedule in the league. We won 7, and we lost 4 games by a touchdown or less. I think with just adding Carson Wentz to 4 of those games, we probably could have won. To all those games, we probably could have won probably 3 more. I think Washington's going to go either 10-7 or 11-6. I know that might be a little bullish, but we do have a weaker schedule this year. Last year we had a first place schedule, so we played pretty much every good quarterback in the league. We had a run of like really solid quarterbacks for like weeks on end. And I think we were still competitive to a degree in most of those games. But I think Washington's going to go 10-6 or 11-6 or 10-7, 11-6. And my reasoning is I don't. Let me double check, make sure I have this on my phone. I don't know if I have like the potential. Give me 1 second. I think I have like who the teams we're actually going to play are screenshots. I might not screenshot it, so yeah, bear with me for 2 seconds. There we go. Yep. Okay. So our home opponents are the Cowboys, the Giants, and Eagles. I don't think anyone in our division is unbeatable. It wasn't like it was last year where Dallas was such a juggernaut. I think the Eagles caught us at the right time twice. Okay, if we'd have played Eagles earlier in the season, we'd have beat them both times. Okay. So in our division, I don't think the Giants are gonna. I'm not afraid of the Giants at all. I'm not afraid of Daniel Jones. I'm not afraid of them at all. So now Green Bay. Green Bay is good, but Green Bay doesn't have Devontae Adams anymore, and we seem to actually play Green Bay very well. We've had a track record since I can remember of actually playing against Green Bay and being pretty productive against them, or at least against Aaron Rodgers. Vikings don't scare me. They should be better than what they are. Kirk's been solid for them, and they have a good running game, but I don't know. I don't know what their issue is. They just fired a coach, got a new coach, so you don't know what's going to happen there. I'm not afraid of the Jaguars. Titans, maybe. Browns, maybe. If it's Deshaun Watson Browns, yes. If it's not Deshaun Watson Browns, no. Falcons, they're in a rebuild, and they're not going to play Desmond Ridder this year, and I don't have any fear at all. See, as I'm talking about this, I'm not fearing the quarterbacks we're playing. Last year, we had like Murderer's Row, Mahomes, Matt Ryan, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Justin Herbert, Derek Carr. You went through Murderer's Row, quarterback after quarterback after quarterback. That was just so good. And in our away games, again, we have our division. Bears, Lions, not afraid of either one of them. Colts, I actually want to beat the ever-living hell out of the Colts. 49ers, I'm honestly not afraid of the 49ers. I'm not scared of Jimmy G, and I think Trey Lance is a bust. And I can get into that if someone puts a question in here. Won't get into that, and I'm not afraid of Houston. So there's a lot of teams here that I'm not afraid. I don't worry about. I think our defense is going to give them a lot of problems, and I think our offense is going to be a lot better against those teams. So that is why I'm very confident in the amount of wins that Washington's going to have is at least 10. I think our ceiling is probably 13 and 4. But I think 10 or 11 is probably where we're going to be at, and I think that's good enough to win our division. Dallas is going to sink horribly. They won our division last year, and they are going to have a tough schedule. I tell you what, they're going to have a tough schedule. Huber Escobar, B+. I assume that means that's your grade for our draft. So B+. I'd say A-. I'd say A-, B+. You can go in there. Daniel Jones does play his best against Wash. I think Wash just plays their worst against Giants. I think that's more or less what it is. He has played well, but the last couple times we've played the Giants, we've had their number. I don't think our defense scares anyone yet. I think it can scare anyone. I think it has a lot of potential to scare people. But like I agree with you. They got to prove it. They got something to prove. It's not like last year they were like top 5 and they led the league in sacks or anything. I don't disagree with you there. But I'm the eternal optimist. I think Washington can be a very good defense, very high-rated defense. There's some things they got to do to fix issues. Carson has some of the best receivers he's ever played with in his career. We can win 3 or 4 more games with him at quarterback. Yeah, Brian, I completely agree with you. Like I said, we plug him into 4 or 5 games last year. We win 3 to 4 of them, and then we're looking at a team with a backup quarterback at the hardest schedule in the league, still won 7. I think there's a lot of back to Boski's point, teams don't fear our defense. I think our defense was playing the best quarterbacks in the league last year. So we're not going to be playing the best quarterbacks in the league this year. So it's called I think it's called a progression, or it's gonna meet. There's like a really good and there's really bad, and we're gonna meet in the middle somewhere. And I think that's what we're going to be doing right now. I think this year we meet somewhere in the middle, where we're not regressing, and we're gonna progress back to like where we should be, and not playing over our head. I think that's the best way I can put it. And to Brian's point, Carson Wentz is going to have the best variety of talent he's ever had. When it comes to weapons, I was on a podcast 2 days ago or 3 days ago, and we're talking about like best offense he's ever played with, and obviously the Super Bowl winning offense with the Eagles was so good. You plucked out Carson Wentz and dropped in Nick Foles, and they won a Super Bowl. Okay, I mean. It was a very good amassed team. Boski, I don't disagree with you. I don't think Jack Del Rio is this is what Boski says. I don't think Jack Del Rio, or just Del Rio, is innovative enough in this league. Old man way of thinking. I don't disagree with you. I'll give an example. I think if you took our defense and you handed it over to Rex Ryan, I think Rex Ryan would do way more of this defense than Jack Del Rio could. Rex Ryan has done way more with less. Okay, Angel says in the comments, this season is gonna be most exciting season since we got Alex Smith, but unfortunately I will be training and advanced individual training, so I won't be able to watch games. I'm sorry to hear that, Angel. Well, if you follow me on Twitter, I'll keep you posted, okay, buddy? Promise you. Or just, subscribe to this and I'll keep you posted week to week. Assuming Wentz survives, we've had a bad history lately of letting the quarterback, the starting quarterback get hurt. You're not wrong. Hopefully history, we can break that curse. I think it's more our field. I think there's like a thing where like every game played at like where it's like every game played at FedEx Field, someone gets like a serious injury. Like first game of the year last year, what's his name? Fitzpatrick went down with a dislocated hip, pretty much out for the season. What was the second game we played? Someone from the Giants got hurt really bad, and then so on and so forth. Like every game, someone got hurt. Mirror at Angel. Angel, thank you for absolutely. Thank you for your service, Angel. Appreciate it. A lot of good questions, guys. Really enjoying this. Keep them coming. All right. Kind of off topic of Washington, but did anyone see how many draft picks the Ravens had in the 4th round? They had like 6 picks. It was insane. I was looking at the number of picks that they had, and they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 picks in the 4th round. It was insane. That is how you build a draft. I'll tell you what. That's how you build a draft. You trade back, you get accumulated talent. They still got Kyle Hamilton and Tyler Lindenbaum and David Ajabo. And actually a tight end I wanted got picked up by them, Charlie Collar. In my mock draft, I had us picking him. My projection for Jamin Davis is Jamin Davis. They have to move him to a spot where he can just play instinctually and just play football. I personally think that he was a reach. I've grown to the conclusion that he was a reach last year. I think Ron was focusing on all the wrong things. He didn't see the tape. He didn't see it. I don't think you should watch game film on someone that plays 1 year and that's your conclusive evidence on it. I think Ron, I think he selected him with his heart more than he did his mind, his football mind. I think he liked a lot of things about him, and I think he let that blur his judgment, so to speak. But I think Jamin Davis, they move him to an outside linebacker position, and last year they tried to have him be like that John Bostic role, and he was just overthinking it. He was trying to overthink how to play the game when he didn't have to. All he had to do was just play the game the way you know how to, but they had him trying to be like a floor general, field general, whatever you want to call it, middle linebacker that controls the whole defense, orchestrates everything. That's not his game. It's not who he is. He's not experienced enough. You need him just to play football instinctually. And once he's got that down pat and he's comfortable in the NFL with his instincts, then you can get him where he can orchestrate everyone else so his instincts can kind of flourish in that regard. But you got to get him playing instinctually against more talented guys, and I think that's what his issue was last year. If Carson falters, what's his leash, and at what point do you go to Heineke? But not pessimistic, just curious. Not being just curious of the point of discussion. Well, I think we rule out Samuel Howell the first year unless the wheels fall off and both our guys get injured. I think we can all agree on that we should probably not go with Samuel Howell this year, unless he just shows something to Ron in preseason, and it's just way better than what Heineke could ever offer us. Unless there's something out there that there has to be a massive decision on that. And what is his leash? I don't know. That's a hard. Like, what are his stats? Like after his first 3 interception game, do we pull him or something like that? That's a hard question. That's a hard one to answer. I think Carson gets the whole season. I think think Ron. If Ron plays in the whole season, he has a scapegoat, and that gets him one more year because he just drafted a rookie quarterback. So I'd say if we're not in a position where we can win the division by 3/4 of the season, I think that's probably where you got to go. Because after so many starts, we actually the pick we traded for Carson Wentz turns into a second. I think it's 70% of the starts. So you probably should just stop playing him after 3/4 or about 2/3 of the season. If you're not in a position where it looks like you're about to in a position to strike and make the playoffs, I think that's what you got to do. I think that's a smart thing, where Ron can look at it like, you know what, it's just not going to work, Carson. Take the rest of the year, get healthy. We're keeping our second round pick next year, and we're going to go with Taylor Heineke or Samuel Howell for the rest of the season. I think that's what you do. I think you got to look at it about, where would I say? I wouldn't say October or the end of November. I wouldn't say Thanksgiving. Maybe Thanksgiving is probably your cutoff. If by Thanksgiving you're not sure, you can't. That's the thing about Carson. Carson, you can't play for 2. It's not like I'm not trying to speak ill of the dead, but it's not like the Dwayne Haskins situation where you need to play a little bit and put him in situations to kind of see what he is, and you might have to give him a year or two to figure that out. Carson's not like that. Carson's going to have to hit the ground running immediately because there's already got speculation on what he is and is not, and he's got to prove what he is. And he's got to prove what he's not, and I think there needs to be more certainty sooner. I think if we started Samuel Howell, we would probably be more patient in letting him develop and him making mistakes. Carson Wentz is not going to get that luxury. As much as I think that's not really fair to him, it's still a new offense to him. But I don't think he's going to get that luxury. He's been in the league for years. He has a record of not having good history with the prior teams has been on. So I think that those are going to be factors as well. So you add all that up, I think he gets about 3/4, or not quite 3/4, but like about 2/3 of the season, and that's got to be the cutoff. So I don't know what 2/3 of 17 is. So give me 1 second. 17 times 0.66. So about 11 games. So I'd say about 11 games. So if you're at 11 games and you're 7-4, yeah, keep riding with Carson Wentz. If you're at 11 games and you're 4-7, I'd say it might be time to pull that plug. So it might be time to pull that plug. Or if you're at 8-3, or if you're 6-5, you're in striking distance. You stick with that. There's a formula for winning in there when you have a winning record. And we don't know the schedule yet, so for all we know, we might have all of our hard games early, and if we come out of that's like last year. I was looking at it, if we came out of a certain part of our season, and we were around 500, that's pretty good, and we actually started winning games after that. And then, COVID hit, and we pretty much, the wheels fell off the wagon, and it seems to happen every year, something like that happens. When we had Alex Smith, we were just talking, like someone just commented exciting about Alex Smith his first year. We literally had Alex Smith, and we were running away with the division with Alex Smith. Wasn't even close. No one close to us. And it literally took him breaking his leg and the whole team pretty much breaking down and falling apart to derail us winning the division. And we were running away with the division. It wasn't even close. And we lost 6 out of our next 7 games. And we still were close to, we still had 1 or 2 games we could have won and still made the playoffs. So I think that's the situation we're going to be in. I think when we see the schedule, it'll be a little more telling. So let's say we start the season off with the Giants, and then we're playing the Bears and the Lions and the Falcons, and then our season starts off with all these teams that there's more question marks with them than there is with us. Yeah, we could start off very strong and then have some rough patches later, or we could start off opposite of that and have all of our tough games early, and then have all of our difficult game or our easy games later. It just depends. But I'd say your cutoff needs to be about 11 games in. Because, like I said, if you just for self-preservation, if you want to keep your second-round pick, you can't play more than 70% of the snaps this year. So, good question. Very good question, Amir. Jamin Davis was more athlete than football. He was never a middle linebacker. I don't disagree with you. I think Jamin Davis is he's probably one of the best athletes on our team, honestly. Probably one of the best in the league. Pure athlete. Pure just athlete. He covered Kyle Pitts in college effectively. You have to be very, very, very athletic to be able to do that. And Kyle Pitts is a beast. But Jamin Davis needs to play football instinctually. I used to coach youth league basketball and had a kid. He could shoot the lights out until he started thinking about shooting the lights out, and then it got in his head, and he was nothing. But when he caught and shot out of instinct, he was automatic. In 7th grade, he could I can shoot threes pretty well, but he could outshoot me on a consistent basis when it came out of instinct. Probably because he started younger. I didn't start playing basketball in 6th grade, but he started when he was like 6 or something like that. So, yeah, good question. And I think Jamin Davis just plays better instinctually and not trying to think about it and just do. He's a doer, not a thinker. I guess is the best way to put it. I don't think it's not that I don't take it the wrong way. It's not that I don't think he's smart or anything. I think he's a very intelligent person. I just think the way he plays football is he plays football with instinct, and a lot of players do that. But they are asking him to orchestrate the defense and move like chess pieces, and this is not his thing. There's a reason why John Bostic had value to Ron, because he was able to do those things. Wasn't very good at the other aspects of stuff. He was okay at run stopping. He couldn't cover me. Okay, so he wasn't very good. Wow, 47 people on. This is a lot of people on this live stream. Okay, still open for questions. I'm gonna keep this going until 10:30 will be my cutoff. So keep the questions coming. Keep them questions coming, guys. I was hyped with the Samuel Howell pick. I'm definitely getting his jersey. For sure. I think... So if you had to get a Wentz jersey or Howell jersey, which one would you think is a more sure thing? I think it's Howell. I think it's Samuel Howell. You'd have to go that route almost. I think it's a more for sure thing. It's actually Ron's actual draft pick. I think they got Carson Wentz as like a just in case nothing fell to them. And almost like if the draft would have gone the way they thought, in the way that Ron and everyone, in the way like most people predicted, where the quarterbacks that went in like the 4th and 5th rounds were going to go in like the late 1st, early 2nd, maybe as late as the early 3rd rounds. Like I said, the whole bell curve just shifted, and everything shifted back about 4 or 5, or like about 20 picks. Just saw Grossi running next year's mock draft. They had us picking 10th. Your thoughts? So if they have us picking 10th, that means we have the 10th worst record in the league, unless they have us trading up. I don't see that being the case. If you look at our division, is there anyone in our division that is just that much better than us? I don't think so. I don't think Dallas really got better. I don't think Dallas got a lot better. I think the Eagles did improve. I will give them credit. They did improve in some aspects. I don't think it's so much they improved. Like Fletcher Cox is gone. They drafted what's his name, defensive tackle. Okay. I think that's more or less what it is. I don't think it's. And they also signed a linebacker, which apparently has injury concerns. So just throw that out there. Day 3 made our draft. Yeah, you're not wrong, Kirk. Day 3 definitely made our draft. Definitely made our draft look a lot better. And like I said, Grossi, I don't see that happening. I don't see us having the 10th worst record in the league. I don't see that happening. Maybe I'm just overly optimistic. I mean, like I said, we played all this year with the toughest schedule and a backup, and we were ended up 11th. So we're gonna say we're gonna. Hold on. So let's think this logically for a second. Grossi thinks that last year we didn't have our starting quarterback. We had a backup quarterback. Basically a rookie if you think about it. Okay, he was a rookie. He never really started before in the NFL. And we add Carson Wentz, which you can think what you want about him. He's definitely an upgrade over Heineke. He's a force multiplier. McLaurin can now go deep. Everyone can go deep. It's going to push the defense back. They're not going to blitz as much. The running game's opening. All that stuff's going to happen. Our defense can't get worse. Okay, they had the worst pass defense in the league last year. That gets marginally better. Let's just say it gets from worst to like 20th, and he thinks we're going to be 10th instead of 11th in the record. That doesn't make sense to me. He's got to logically play that out for me. I need to see his math. Somewhere his math got screwed up, where he thinks that Washington's going to go from the 11th worst schedule or record in the league to the 10th. With all the additions that we had. It doesn't make sense to me. I need to see his math. I really do. Day 3 in our draft, I would give... What do you think about 3 Bama guys in our D-line? I think the 3 Bama guys... Well, we're only going to have 2 here soon, but I think the 3 Bama guys are nice. Here's what's funny, is everyone wanted us to draft Jameson Williams. We'd have got 3 Alabama guys in the first 3... with our first 3 picks, if we'd have drafted Jameson Williams. That's kind of funny to me. Well, we wouldn't have had the 3rd pick in the 3rd round, I guess, if we didn't trade back. So, but yeah, I like it. I just think like certain schools produce certain positions. Ohio State produces good wide receivers and defensive ends. This is what they do. Okay, they don't produce good quarterbacks. Alabama doesn't really produce great quarterbacks. Tua, the jury's still out on him, so we'll see. Jalen Hurts had to leave there to go play somewhere else at quarterback. But they were produced wide receivers. And it just seems like Alabama, because Nick Saban, for the record, I'm not a big fan of Nick Saban. I think he's a good coach. I don't think he's a great coach. I think it's easy to coach when you have the best talent every year and you have more talent than anyone else out there. I think that makes this coaching, it makes it easier for someone to coach when they have the best talent all the time. And every time you step on the field, your team steps on the field, you're the most talented team. You have the most talented player at every position just about. And I think it's easier to coach that than it is like a team like Cincinnati, for example. They don't get the cream of the crop, but they still went undefeated. And I would say the game against Alabama wasn't super competitive, but I think if a different matchup, they probably would have been more competitive. So, good question. Good question indeed. Excuse me. Keep them coming, guys. Got about 20 more minutes of this live stream. I like the questions. As I said earlier, make sure you follow me on Twitter, Washington Command Post. Washington Commander J Plank. My YouTube channel is Washington Command Post. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Hit notification bell. Get videos like this all the time. I want to get close. I want to get 1,000 followers by the time the season starts. That's the goal. We'll see how that plays out. And again, I do recommend this variety of hat, Washington Commanders. I live in Pittsburgh. I was working today, and a lot of people actually gave me compliments on it. Then they realized what it was. Yeah. Hail to the Commanders. I actually thought of a good one instead of hail to the Commanders. They're your Commanders. Why not salute to the Commanders? Just a thought. Let me know in the comment section what you think of that. And I don't know if you just joined the stream or not. I thought it was funny. I saw a funny post on Twitter today. There's a lot of people. I'll answer that in 1 second here. There's a lot of people. It was like people who wanted the Washington to be called the Red Wolves, and they finally get a player called Howell. It's very funny. It's very funny the way the world works out. So Kirk Smith asked me, what's going to happen to Patterson? I think Patterson, he's going to borderline not make this team. I really think that's going to happen. I don't think he's going to make the team. He was a great story last year. But unless he gets bigger, unless he gets faster, not bigger like height, you can't make yourself taller, but I think he just needs to be able. I think what the problem is, he would always get runs in like weird spots. But I think he'll probably be practice squad. I don't think they'll cut him because Terry Gibson's is injured way too often. That they probably won't cut him, but he'll probably be designated to practice squad. Bum, ba-da-da-bum, 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 ba-da-da-bum. CJ shoots photo. Yep, I agree with you, CJ. I think Patterson's gonna be. I like Patterson, but I believe he's gonna be. I believe he's not gonna make it. I don't think he's gonna make it past. I don't think he's gonna make it on the final roster. Let's put it that way. Unless, I mean, it's possible someone gets injured. That's definitely possible. So, let's just say, and I'm not wanting this to happen, knock on wood. Let's just say Gibson gets hurt in the preseason. Problem solved. You got to have him then. I'm a military kind of person, and the name Commanders is sick. Saying salute to Commanders is fire. Oh, well, I appreciate that. So if it's starting to become a thing, the salute to the Commanders, you heard it here first, okay? But I like it. That's why I say Commander Plank can always salute. Now, Angel, I'll be honest with you. Since you brought this up, I didn't like the name Commanders at first. It's grown on me, and I've moved on, and I've just accepted it. And I'm a Commander fan, so it's what I am. But initially, I wanted to be called the Red Wolves, and it has a military connection. There's I think it's the Navy SEALs and the Marines, one of the two. There's an elite helicopter squadron called Red Wolf Squadron, which would have been a nice way to tie it into the military. But yeah, Commanders, it is what it is. I moved on. Yeah, so if salute to the Commanders starts to become a thing, you heard it here. I think it really rolls off the tongue a little better than Hail to the Commanders. But Hail to the Commanders is kind of an homage to Hail to the Redskins. So I think that's why people want to hang on to the Hail part. We are the Commanders. Bum, ba-da-dum, ba-da-dum, bum, bum. If you want to ask me questions that are not football related, you're more than welcome to. If you hear something in the background, my cat is eating. Let me rephrase that. My wife's cat's eating. I don't like my cat. I like the Brian Robinson pick. Change of pace back. He has a great one cut and burst. Needing running back like this for short yardage situations. Yeah, a lot of picks this year were reactionary picks to things that happened last year. So wide receiver Jahan Dodson, what was your reaction to? Well, if Curtis Samuel's out, we need someone who can fill that second wide receiver role in the slot, which is what Jahan Dodson can do. Mathis, a defensive line. Our defense wasn't great last year, and we cut two defensive linemen, and we're cutting a third because of it. Fedarius Mathis is a reactionary pick to that. We're invested for a lot of capital draft picks, whatever you want to call it, in the defensive line, and the two depth pieces that we have. One was arguing about one wanted to be a starter and didn't understand what role he played. The other one was apparently having issues with coaching. So that was a problem. Robinson, like I said, Robinson is a reaction to last year. They cut Peyton Barber, and Peyton Barber was our third down back, and he would get those hard yards, and that. All this stuff is a reaction to last year. We didn't draft a quarterback last year. We probably could have or should have. And then we ended up getting stuck with Taylor Heinicke first. I don't think stuck with it. I think he played great under the circumstances he had. If you treat him like a rookie. When you turn it one way, it looks like I have a black eye, but I don't. So that's what I think a lot of it is. A lot of these picks are reactions to last year, to what happened or didn't happen last year. So good point. CJ photo shoots. Commanders has grown on me. Originally wanted the DC Pandas. Oh, don't we all want pandas? From the highlight reel, looks like a good bruiser for goal line and grinding out good yards. Yep, Ken, couldn't agree more. The highlight reel definitely says that. It's not going to be someone. It's not someone who's going to like juke 9 guys and keep a play running forever. He's going to make one cut, get upfield, and if he finds a seam, he's gone. If he doesn't find a seam, he's going to make a seam. That's the way he is. What little highlights I've seen, I think Mathis was a good pick. I do too. He got a handful of sacks last year, and he wasn't even supposed. He's not a sack guy. He's a first and second down defensive lineman, who's like a run stopper, takes up space. And honestly, we don't need him to get sacks. That is not what he's going to be here to do. Does Jaron Payne a sack master? No. He's going to take over Jaron Payne's spot at some point, and he's here to take up space and stop the run. Chase Young, Allen, Montez Sweat, those guys are the guys responsible for getting sacks. I don't think Mathis is going to be responsible for that. Like everyone said, his sack numbers weren't that great. Sack numbers were actually great for the fact that he was never on the field on third downs. He was only on the field on first and second down. So Mathis, that's why I thought we'd pick up Mathis. He's going to pick up a lot of space, and he's going to basically fill that Jaron Payne role. Or take up space. If you get a one-on-one, you're going to win it and get some good stuff. But most of the time, one of the two defensive tackles will get double-teamed on most plays. If they don't, they're not going to. The offense doesn't succeed. So the other guy has to win his battle and fill the gap of where the double team comes from. That's basically how our defense works. What I've heard on Mathis is he is a leader on the field and in the locker room, and we need a defensive tackle depth starter in 2023. Yeah, couldn't agree more. I think he will start in 2023, mainly because of situational things. Jerron Payne's not going to be there. There's going to be no one else on the roster unless we draft someone. So we are coming down to 9 minutes left on the live stream. Like I said, you can ask me personal questions if you want. Nothing too personal. Just like my interests, whatever. I'm into movies. I'm into TV shows. Highly recommend, if you haven't, to watch the Halo series. It's pretty good. Moon Knight's pretty good. Those are the two shows I'm into lately. Obviously, Forged in Fire. I've watched every episode. It's probably my favorite show on TV. And I highly recommend, if you haven't already, watch the movie The Batman. If you have a preconceived notion about Robert Pattinson, whatever, remove it. He's a fantastic Batman. I wouldn't say he's a good Bruce Wayne, and there's reasons for that. I'm not going to spoil the movie. But he's just not at the point. They weren't developing Bruce Wayne. Let me just phrase that. I don't know. I'm losing people now because I'm talking about movies and not the Washington Commanders. You can't see it, but my room is loaded. This room is loaded with nerdy stuff. I got my Washington flag behind me, or it's like a throw blanket with all the Super Bowls on it. I have my Washington flag over there. There's one right there. You can kind of see it right there. I need to move that back up a little bit. There we go. Right here, this is my Batman wall. I'm a big Batman fan, if you haven't noticed. Batman wall with my Batman hat, and I just have some figurines I've collected over the years. Like I said, I'm kind of a nerd. And I have so I can get it over there. That's my gaming couch with you can't see it, it's around the corner right there, but that's my TV with my Switch, my Xbox One, my Xbox 360, Nintendo 64, and Xbox 360, Xbox One, Switch, and 64. Yeah, I had them all. Okay. So, all right. Some good ones. What haven't seen much of Percy Butler? What do you like? How do you like the pick? Apparently, we are great. He is graded very high. It was like a steal. That's what they were saying about that pick specifically. Is they were saying that he is a steal. They said he's the best overall safety in the league when it comes to, he's able to do everything pretty well. Cover, run up and tackle, deep cover, middle cover, everything. It's a complete compliment to Cameron Curl. Complete compliment. So that's what, I don't have much of an opinion on it. I haven't seen a lot about him. Like I said, I worked literally 8:30 till 7:15 today. Came home, ate a Subway sandwich I got from Sheetz last night. It was leftover, and then prepared for this video as much as I could. And I didn't have enough time to watch enough game film / highlights of everyone. However, I did read the synopsis that everyone said and what everyone thought of the picks. And the main thing said about Percy Butler is that he is the best all-around safety. When it comes to being able to do everything a safety is asked to do, he does it pretty well. Other safeties are really, 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 really good at two things, and then there's a huge drop-off on the other things. He's the most even keel across the board. And like I said earlier, I think this draft is Ron is very safe in this draft. If you look at everyone here, they do a lot of things really well, but nothing super over the top great. That's what Ron went for in this draft. If you look at a lot of these players, that's what they do. They don't do anything great. They don't do anything bad. It's all even keel across the board, and that's what Ron focused on this draft. That was his draft strategy. And honestly, I like that because that means you know what you're getting from every player. There's no question mark. Jamin Davis was a question mark last year. Benjamin St. Juste was a question mark last year. Johnny Brown was a question mark last year. These, I think you know what you're getting in every single one of these players, at least from rounds 1 through 5. I think starting on Tuesday, free agency signing don't count against our 2023 compensatory pick 3rd and 7th rounders. So expect us to maybe sign 1 or 2 more veterans. Jaquez Izard. Okay. Imagine a game at home and you hear all the loud systems announce to the fans, Commander Salute, and then everyone collectively does like a Spartan war chant. Oh, I love that. I would love that because I'm a huge I'm a history buff. I love Greek mythology. I love Greek history, and that would be the most awesome thing ever. Commander Salute. All I hear is Howe, Howe, Howe. Like if you haven't seen the movie 300, that's what it's from. Go look it up. That'd be pretty awesome, Amir. Not gonna lie, it'd be pretty awesome. To answer your question, CJ shoots photo. Yeah, I think they're gonna pick some defensive tackles. There's some defensive tackles out there they're gonna sign in free agency, rather than going the route of picking. And I'll bring up the names real quick. I have it right here in front of me. Nope, I don't have it right here in front of me. Never mind. But there are plenty of defensive tackles out there that aren't signed yet, and also a safety in Darren Mathis that is not signed yet. That Washington could potentially go that route of to fill like a linebacker or a defensive tackle depth role and a safety role. I will say though, Amir, if they start saying salute to the Commanders, I'm going to be a little upset. I'm definitely going to go to this video and I'm going to be asking for my royalties every time. Okay, Estapo3, I think that's how you pronounce your name. I'm going to Google who this is because I don't know it off the top of my head. Jaquez Izard. Oh, is that the receiver we signed from? Okay, that's what it is. Okay, I gotcha. Love the Cole Turner and Brian Robinson pick. We drafted experience. Yes, we did. We definitely did. Yeah, that's who it is. Okay. Washington signed Jaquez Izard, wide receiver from Sam Houston. Nice. I like it. Get your salute to the Commanders trademark. Now, yeah, I need to do that. I really do. If you guys start hearing that, you know where it came from. I have a timestamp. I've actually been saying it for a while, but this is the first time on a live stream I've actually brought it up. I've been saying it for a while. Salute to the Commanders. Yeah, if we keep having questions, it's almost 4:30. I'll keep going as long as there's questions. I could be here all night with this. I got nothing else to do. No one's asking any personal stuff. Get to know the man behind the camera. Just kidding. All right. Yeah, Brian, that's the teams that do good on day 3 usually win the draft, or usually are the better teams. Teams that really do well on the 3rd day are the teams that win. You don't win championships, you don't win divisions and win playoff games on days 1 and day 2. You win it on day 3 where you get those gems. And I think Washington actually hasn't done horrible at finding gems like last couple years. Cole Holcomb was a late round gem. Chase Roulier was a late round gem. You also have Cameron Curl was a late round gem. So, yeah, there's definitely value in those later rounds. I think John Bates was a 4th rounder, unless I'm wrong. Sadiq Charles, if we could just get more out of him, he was a 4th rounder, I think. I'm asthmatic, so don't freak out. Don't freak out, okay? I'm asthmatic. Very badly asthmatic, to be honest with you. Salute to the Commanders. I do not like the Farmers thing, by the way. We are the Commanders. Bum, ba-dum, ba-dum, bum, bum. Don't like it. Don't like it. Don't like it. I like the Mandalorian stuff. If I haven't said it already, I'm kind of a nerd. I like Star Wars, like Batman. But I played football, high school and college, and basketball, high school and college. So, I'll give everyone about 3 more minutes to post as many questions as you'd like. And then I'll answer all 3 of them. Then I'm basically going to shut off the chat, and then we'll finish this up. By the way, hope everyone likes my new microphone. It's actually a real one. The other one I had literally cost me, I think it was $5 or $10 at Five Below. So if the sound's clear this time, if you've listened to one before and the sound is clear, just let me know. BJ Ben 03, just wished we kept Settle or Ioannidis. The Mathis pick was a need, but created by Ron. Maybe we would have gotten Nakobe Dean. Probably wishful thinking, though. You're not wrong, but we also don't know the ins and outs of that. For what I've heard, Settle didn't want to be a rotational piece. He wanted to start. So if unless we're getting rid of Jahan, I mean, maybe you trade Jahan Payne and keep Settle. Maybe that's a possibility. So that we don't know if Washington tried to re-sign him, and he the money was exactly the same. He's just like, nope, I want to start, and then he left. So we don't know a lot of those ins and outs. And then the other part of that is Ioannidis. Apparently, Ioannidis was having issues with the coaching. He was very difficult to coach. So I think that was why we got rid of Ioannidis. I don't disagree with you. I think we should have kept one of them, but we also don't know the what other contributing factors were out there in the process of getting rid of both of them, or letting both of them go. We don't know all the ins and outs of that. And yeah, I was kind of hoping that Nakobe Dean would keep falling and maybe Washington would get him. In my mock draft, I had us getting Darren Mathis, but in my mock draft, I traded back and got a second-round pick with the Steelers and got their second-round pick. So it was like pick 20 in the second round. And with that pick, I picked Chad Muma from Wyoming. And I thought it'd be amazing if Washington was able to trade up back into like the late second round or whatever, and potentially grab Nakobe Dean before someone else did. So that would have been pretty cool, but I didn't think it was going to happen. I don't think it was going to happen. Ron obviously doesn't feel like linebacker was a massive concern. I mean, I don't disagree with him. We have some decent backers on our team. Cole Holcomb, I'd say, is probably our most well-rounded linebacker, and then we have Jamin Davis, which is so odd because for years Washington was known for having good linebackers. Pardon me. And we were known for not having the greatest defensive line. Yeah, Dean had some medical issues for sure, and I think he's going to have to get surgery. And that's why a lot of teams were passing on him, because a lot of teams didn't want to wait a year. Like, I'll give you an example. David Ajado, I think that's what his name was. Guy ruptures Achilles at the combine while he was like doing combine drills. He was drafted by the Ravens. The Ravens, they actually have the players in the capital where they can afford to draft him and let him develop, let him heal for a year, and then he's a possibility after that. Some teams can't. We don't have. Ron does not have the luxury. This is why I said this is why we didn't take Williams, Jameson Williams, is because Ron doesn't have that luxury. If Ron has a bad season, I don't think he'll get fired, but he's going to be on the hot seat. And the way he loses can be a factor in that. So he doesn't have, and then Dan Snyder's going to look at him like, listen, you had all these draft picks and you didn't draft any. He's going to just look at excuses like, well, Carson Wentz is playing well. Well, you drafted the guy you can't throw to because he's injured or whatever. So you just never know. How do you feel about Howell? Does he eventually start in a year or two? I think Howell, I like Howell. Howell is very solid. I liked him. I didn't have us picking him, though, because, and you must have just jumped on, Ben, so I'll kind of explain. So the first two quarterbacks that were supposed to be drafted, like all the predictions were saying, was Pickens and Malik, okay? Or as my wife calls them, Malik. She called him Malik. It was the funniest thing ever. She's like, when's that Malik guy going to get drafted? I'm like, I don't know about Malik, but I know his twin brother Malik is probably going to get drafted pretty high. I was giving her such a hard time. But those two were supposed to go, like, top 10, right? Because they're the two best quarterbacks in the draft, apparently. So then you have, like, Carson, Desmond Ridder, Samuel Howell. That tier of quarterback was going to be, like, late first to the middle of the second, maybe as late as the late second. Then you have, like, the next tier after that, which is Carson Strong and, like, Bailey Zappi and, like, maybe early day 2. That's how it was. Well, that's a bell curve of, like the early, like, if you know the bell curve works, it's, like, early rounders, and then as you get to the top, it levels out the top of what's, like, the most common is, like, you know, between, like, late first and late second. That's where most of them are going to happen. Then you had the later end ones with Zappi and whatever. That entire bell curve of, like, where the quarterbacks are going to land completely shifted. And I didn't anticipate us getting Howell. So in my mock draft, I didn't have us getting him because I didn't think he'd be there. I had us potentially maybe getting Carson Strong. And if you go back and watch the stream whenever this is done published, I had a really nice thing. I have nice things to say about Carson Strong. He's the kind of player I want on my football team. But Samuel Howell is also a good player I want on my football team. He's a better version of Baker Mayfield. I think he's a better version of Baker Mayfield. I think he's more of a team player. I think he's got more tenacity. I think he acts as a better arm. I think he's more mobile and durable, and I think he's thicker than Baker Mayfield. So I think Howell gives Ron a lot of peace of mind. So Ron was basically looking at one of two things this year, and he got both. He's got one of two things. One was he's going to have Carson Wentz. He's going to have Carson Wentz, and then he could play Carson Wentz. And, yeah, that was it. Or two, he was not going to get Carson Wentz, and have to draft a quarterback, and then have to go on Taylor Heineke for a while, and then potentially that quarterback. Okay? So now we get to have both. We get to have Carson Wentz play, and if he's good, great. We'll develop a good backup that can be here for years. Okay? Or Carson Wentz sucks, and now Sammy Howell can be dropped into a team that we actually loaded up with some good talent. And like I said, I don't think this year he should play very much. Someone's posting on a different thing. It was kind of funny because I posted about 3 months ago. It was like one of those shorts you can have on YouTube, and I posted asking people's opinion on Sam Howell, and everyone's commenting Sam Howell. Imagine wanting to trade back for him and get him late in the late first, and you end up getting him in the fifth. That's awesome. So that was my prediction. Howell has a little Steve Young in him, a little more polish coming out, in my opinion. I honestly think he's better than Pickett. I really do. I think he's better than Pickett. And the reason why I think he's better than Pickett is I think Pickett looks more stereotypical quarterback. That's to be honest, like Carson Strong looks like the more stereotypical quarterback. Carson Wentz looks like that too. The eye test says they should be good quarterbacks. We look at people like, it's just like perception. We look at people like Baker Mayfield or like Kyler Murray and things like that. We say they shouldn't be franchise quarterbacks or they shouldn't be this because they don't have the physique and the size that we're used to. So it's not a bad thing. I think it just makes people underrate them better, and I think that's why Samuel Howell succeeded everywhere he's been. So here's what Samuel Howell has. Samuel Howell had, not this last season, but like 2 years ago, had a very good season, had a very loaded team, and his entire offense, the talent he had around him got gutted. Offensive line, running back, weapons, like receiving weapons. We drafted one of them. And with all new guys, he still came out and put up, 30-some touchdowns? He put up 30-some touchdowns. I'm going to look that up real quick because I don't want to be wrong. Sam Howell stats. Boom. Okay. Yeah, he put up... Stats, okay. So he put up a decent amount of yards. And let's see what it says. No information available. That's stupid. Okay, I think I need to put in here college stats. There we go. That's what it was. I need to put in college stats. So, yeah, last year, 2021, he threw for a grand total of, well, he got 24 touchdowns, but he had a total of 30, I think it was, he had rushing touchdowns, too. It's not showing the rushing touchdowns. So, he had 11 rushing touchdowns. So, you're looking at a total of 35 touchdowns to only, 9 interceptions, any fumbles. No fumbles. He actually doesn't have any fumbles. Wow, that's incredible. Doesn't actually have any fumbles in college. That's actually very astounding to me. I did not know that. But yeah, last year, 3,056 passing yards, 35 touchdowns, only 9 interceptions, and that was when all of his weapons were gone. The year before that, he had 30 touchdowns, actually 30 plus 6. So 30. He only had one less touchdown last year, and he had all of his weapons gone. Yeah, so a little Steve Young in him. Is he left-handed? Steve Young was left-handed, but yeah, I get what you're saying though. Definitely got some Steve Young in him. Couldn't agree more. Got a lot of moxie. It's got that quarterback attitude you like. So, I'll take one more question, and then I'm going to get off here. Got 1 minute to post a question. I'll answer it, and then I'm getting off here. While I'm waiting for this question by anyone, I'll let everyone know that you can follow me on Twitter. It's Commander J Plank. Follow, I share, I comment on Washington stuff. I basically debate with people. I'm very, I wouldn't say argumentative, I'm very opinionated, and I have no qualms like debating with people on Twitter. So you might hear some of that. You might see some of it. I had people debating with me about why the Darren Mathis pick was so bad. I'm like, the pick's not bad. Yeah, Ron created a situation. Do you see Howell pushing for the backup role this year? I do. I do see Howell pushing for the backup role this year. I think Ron will keep 3 quarterbacks on the roster, though. I think that's going to be a part of it. Jay Gruden didn't like doing that, and then quarterbacks got injured, so he kind of had to. Except when he had Kirk. For some reason, Kirk never got injured, so he could survive with a quarterback and a backup quarterback. How do you feel about last year's draft now? There's a lot of questions unanswered about last year's draft. Last year's draft, you look at Jamin Davis. Do we know what he is? We kind of know what he is, but we don't know if it can produce as much as we need. Benjamin St. Juste, everyone hyped him up as being this big corner, and he was injured most of the year. Johnny Brown was supposed to be able to blow top off of defense. Couldn't happen. You can maybe say that's the offense. You might say the fact that he couldn't get open. Maybe you can say the fact that Taylor Heineke can't throw deep. So, A lot of things in that draft. The only thing I'd say, the two best things out of that draft are Samuel Cosme. I think that's a for sure winner right there, and I think John Bates. Both of them are for sure good ones. And we got some couple defensive linemen later in the draft, like defensive ends. I think both of them did pretty well when they were thrown in at the end of the season, whenever Chase Young and Montez Sweat were out. But yeah, it has been a fantastic stream. It's been, 3 hours. Never done a stream that long before. I want to thank everyone for watching. Like I said, if you could hit the notification bell and subscribe, that would be amazing. And if you could share it to all your friends and, fellow Redskin friends, I should say, or Commander friends, I would really appreciate that. And then follow me on Twitter, and I enjoy the engagement. Engage with me. Comment on my posts. Argue with me. I don't care. I'm all open for debate. And that's it. So, I thank everyone for watching. This has been the Washington Command Post. Salute to the Commanders. And this is Commander Jay Plank. Everyone have a good one.